Alright, good morning people of YouTube. So today we're back with another deck profile. This time we have something that is undisputedly tier 1. This is going to be my take on Black Royal Knights for the Bt6 meta. This is, just to be clear, this is just going to be one of my takes, because there is a Craniumon variant, and then there is a variant that goes more offensive that I'm working on. So this is going to be the defensive variant. This is the Craniumon focus that we all are kind of used to seeing, and so we'll go ahead and go right into the deck list, some of my choices, so that if you want to play this deck in your tournament scene, you at least have my opinion. So here's my eggs. I have 4 Pagumon and 1 Kapuri. So I'm playing a lot of other DP boosts in the deck, and DP boosts on my turn I don't feel are as important as DP boosts on my opponent's turn. So for that reason, I'm only playing 1 Kapuri, and I'm playing 4 Pagu to let me cycle more. There are variants that play 4 copies of this. I do think that is also correct, but typically those variants run less Gogmamon and cards like that. So this is just the way I choose to do it, and the Pagumon just really synergizes with a lot of the blockers you play in the deck. So, onto the level 3s. We have arguably the best card in black now, Chikurimon. If they hit this in security, they de-digivolve 1. So this will stop red because it doesn't get checked by, or this card doesn't get stopped by a Delicate Plan, since a Delicate Plan only stops options. So this is still Jesmon's worst nightmare. And it stops Gabu Bond. Just really, really nice having a security card within your standard lineup. So we have 3 copies of the promo Sunarizamon. This card will give all of your level 6s security attack +1 if this isn't its inheritable. This is just a really good card, and you do want to be playing some amount of this in this deck, because this is basically the offensive backbone that we have. I'm playing 2 Toyagumon. Really wish I could fit in more because reboot is important. Being able to swing with Craniumon and also block with Craniumon is really good. But we do play other level 6s that we can swing with as well. So, Toyagumon is just always going to be a good skill. Just reboot is always going to be good, just passing up as an inheritable. We got 2 Chumon because we have a lot of memory boosts this format. I have 1 of the Bt6 Toyagumon. This is in here as another way to give Craniumon a power boost. So the goal is you want to get Craniumon to 15,000 or more. So that way, if your opponent swings with like Bond of Friendship or anything like that, like 14,000 is just a really good DP threshold. So if you can get your Craniumon above that and block the Bond of Friendship so that they can't OTK you, that's really good. So I do like the Toyagumon. It is in here as a one-of tech because I was just kind of testing it out, but I do want to put in more of it. And I have a 2-cost vanilla as the final flex slot. I do like having 2-cost vanillas in here, because if you need to, you can just play this for 2 and evolve it into a blocker. But this could easily come out for another one of these Toyagu, or these Toyagu, or another Sunariza or Chumon if you so choose. I do still find value in having 2-cost vanillas, though. But those are my level 3s. We'll move right along. For my level 4s, I got 3 copies of Tankmon. It's 1 cost to evolve into. Good to ramp. And also you can swing with it. If you give this card reboot, you can swing into Bond matchups and then stand yourself back up so that they can't swing over you with their Octomons and stuff, and that's always fun. I have 2 copies of Dark Tyranno. Again, another 1 cost. You have 5 1 cost to evolve into just dudes in your chain so that you can hit your level 6s pretty quickly. And having extra blockers is good. We play 6 blockers in our level 4 lineup in total. 2 of them are Shademon. So, like I said with the Chikurimon, having security effects in your standard ramp is really good. And this is another one. It's a security blocker. So, really like this card. It puts in work. Even if you don't hit it in security, you know, you can still evolve into it and just have a blocker. I play 2 copies of Nanimon because it is another security Digimon, and it is really funny whenever my opponent checks security, I flip this over, I go, Nani, and it hits the board. And that's about the gist of it. But also, it is a 3-cost to hard play. So since this deck is fitting in level 7s, it's fitting in options, it's fitting in Tamers, you have to find room in your other levels. So like you'll notice I was only playing 13 level 3s. I'm only going to be playing 11 level 4s. So having cards that you can just hard play for cheap if you don't hit the right levels at the right times is always going to be good. Because if I don't draw a rookie, I can just play Nanimon and then evolve it into a level 5 and start my chain there. So it's good for that. And also having security bodies is still really good. This is the last blocker I'm playing in my level 4s. It's going to be the 2 Mechanorimon. Again, it's cheap to hard play, it being a 4-cost, and this closes out rush matchups if they can't get rid of it. So, really, really like Mechanorimon. Other decks besides Black play this, and in this deck, you just have the advantage of being able to evolve on top of it. So, those are my level 4s. We'll go straight ahead and get into the level 5s. I got 2 copies of Warumanzemon. Again, this is one of those cheap cards that you just don't feel bad hard playing. And you'll be set to 5 a lot of the time just with your Tamers, just starting your turn. So you can actually, from having no cards on board, just hard play this and then evolve it into a Craniumon or a Gankumon and then start to take advantage. So I do really like Warumanzemon for that purpose, and I would always include some number in this style of deck. So these 2 cards are the new cards we got in Bt6. I think you should be playing 2 copies of one of these. I wanted to showcase them both here. So we have Gigadramon and Volcanomon. So Volcanomon is more of an offensive card. It gives you an inheritable that if your opponent doesn't have or if your opponent has a Digimon that's unsuspended, you get security attack +1. That's really good under like a Gankumon or something, because then you're just checking for almost all of their security, and that's just nice. And Gigadramon can make it so that your Digimon are 2,000 stronger on your opponent's turn, which is arguably more important in a style of deck like this, because this buff alone will put Craniumon to 14, and then if you have like the tie in play, then you're 15 right then and there, and you don't have to find buffs elsewhere. But I do like Gigadramon, I do like Volcanomon. I wanted to showcase them both here. You have the option of playing 2 of one or the other. So in this deck profile, we're going to show you 1 of each. And then the last level 5 we're playing is going to be 4 copies of Gogmamon. This card is super important in this list. So if your opponent is in a position where they have like a couple of the Tai or Mat in play, and they have an Agumon or Gabumon in the raising area, they're going to promote, they're going to go to 5 memory, they're probably going to evolve into a Bond, and then they're going to OTK you. You take your champion, you go into a Gogmamon, you burn your champion source, right? So you go up to a 9,000. Then you evolve this into a Craniumon. The Craniumon is now a 14 because of the 2,000 buff, and then a 15,000 because of the inheritable. Right then and there, you are strong enough to block Gabumon, and you put them in a position where they don't want to promote their Gabumon the following turn. And then that gives you more time to set up more cards, or possibly more blockers, and swing. So this card is just super important. If you have a Sunariza on board, it can hit 13 by itself and then acquire Piercing. And the 1,000 buff just by itself will ensure that all of your 12,000 power level 6s just hit 13. So this plus Sunariza will just give you a security attack +1 just innately. So I do really like Gogmamon. It also has an 8 play cost, so it just dodges Gewalt Swarmer. So really, really good stuff there. For the level 6s, I'm playing 3 Craniumon. I talked about them a lot already, but this is the defensive backbone of the deck. And it protects your other defensive backbones and your level 4 blockers and whatnot. We have 2 copies of Gankumon. So this is removal and offensive pressure because it has extra security attack. Really, really good stuff here. I absolutely love what this card did for black as a color in Bt6, because it gives you more offense and more removal, and that's something, or those are 2 things that black kind of needed, and they just wrapped it up nicely and put a bow on it and gave us this card. So the last level 6 I'm playing is 2 copies of Alphamon. So your security effect is nice. You can stun up to 12 Digimon with this. That's not going to happen very often. But this card does have the advantage that if you check it in security, it will go to your hand. So that's really solid. It can help you hit your levels. And if you have, let's say, this in play, and you swing, you're going up 2 memory. And then, like, let's say you put the 3 with your Tamer, you evolve into this, you go to 0, you swing, you go to 2, then you evolve this into Zwart Defeat, put them at 1, and then pop their Tamer. That's amazing. You can also, if you have no other boosts on this card, you can just swing, pay 2 memory, go up to 13k, and then you trigger your Sunariza effect, so that you just give yourself security attack +1, and then you get the 2 memory back that you paid anyway. So that's always really good. When I was initially reading Bt6, whenever it was getting spoiled, I didn't think this card was really all that. I'm a big Alphamon fanboy, but like I was kind of underwhelmed. And after playing it, I sold this card short. This card is absolutely amazing and does a lot for the deck. Even if it didn't have the security effect, just the fact that you can make yourself as big as you need and then gain memory if you're just attacking over something is always really nice. So those are the level 6s that I do play. For the level 7s, I'm playing an Alter S and a Zwart Defeat. These cards are both amazing. You could make the argument on going up on either one of these. You could also make the argument for including regular Zwart. You could also make the argument for including Millenniummon. Basically, black has a lot of level 7s, and they're all really good. I think Alter S is one of the better ones this format, because it's just a board wipe against a lot of decks, and against the decks that it isn't a board wipe, like, Jessamon needs to see its combo pieces. If you stall them, like, if you hit an Alphamon in security, prevent them from attacking, and then next turn you evolve into Alter S and de-digivolve that Jessamon, then they have to build back up into another one, and that's a deck that's already reliant on seeing combo pieces. So I do really, really like this card for just the sheer disruption that it provides. And Zwart Defeat, like I said, is really good in combination with Alphamon, plus it gives the deck another security effect, which, as you can tell, I really like. So these are both phenomenal cards, and yeah, no, I'd consider bumping up to 3 level 7s just so I could play a second copy of either of these. And I see a lot of people playing Zwart. Zwart's a really good card in this list as well. I didn't elect to play it. I thought those 2 were more beneficial for my playstyle. So on to the Tamers. I have 2 Tai Kamiya and 2 Izzy Joe. I want to bump Izzy Joe up to 3 as well. This card is amazing, and I hear a lot of people saying that this card is a mistake, that Bandai did the game dirty when they printed this card, and I kind of agree. It's just generically overpowered. If you have the room and you can play like 4 of this is one of those Tamers that you aren't punished for having just a billion copies in play, because you can just start your turn with with like 10 memory for just making your opponent play the game normally. So this is just a really good card. And Tai is our memory setter, and it buffs our blockers. It helps Craniumon find extra boost when we would need them. So really, really good stuff there. On to the options to round out the deck. I got 2 copies of the Black Memory Boost. This card does a lot for black specifically, because in a deck like this, you know, when you need to find certain levels, whenever you need extra memory, because black doesn't really have any way to gain memory outside of just swinging with the Rogue Alphamon. This card does that for you. Like, this card does so much for the deck and is just a really, really great consistency piece. And to round it out, I'm playing one of the Iron Fisted Onslaught and 2 Ultimate Flare. These ratios are interchangeable depending on what you expect to see. If you expect to see more Bonds or Jessamon or something like that at your locals, you might want to play more Ultimate Flare. If you expect to see more security control or decks where opponents are playing or just hard playing dudes, then you might want to play more Iron Fisted Onslaught. So, yeah, no, that rounds out the deck. Just having good removal is always good, and more security effects is nice. So, that's my take on Black Royal Knights, everybody. I really like this deck. This is a deck that I was very, very excited for coming into Bt6. Yeah, and I'm in playtesting with it. I absolutely love it. I've tweaked it a lot since I initially built it, whenever I cracked open my boxes. So this deck has really come a long way in the playtesting that I've had with it, but I'd really like to know your guys' takes as well. I know that this deck is super flexible, and one of the advantages to playing a deck like this right now is that you can basically do whatever you want with it. There are just so many good cards, and objectively all of them are correct to play. So, yeah. Comment down below your guys' favorite blacklists for this style of deck in Bt6, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.